That's very cool. Okay, welcome everyone. I am very, very excited to welcome you all to a journey through the dark nights. I don't even know if anybody from Australia is here, probably not from down under, because I know it's always like kind of sad for the people that are on the other side of the world that these things don't really resonate with you, maybe. But even if there are some people from the other side of the world, I invite you to just tune in and see if this can still be a process for you. I know that the calendar year is ending for everyone. And I really wonder what it's like actually to end the calendar year in the middle of summer. Like I can't even imagine. So it would be interesting actually to hear from people down under. But yeah, for us in the Northern Hemisphere, now is the time of darkness and of going inside. And this is why this year I kind of chose to share with you my practices that I have been doing for several years in different forms and ways. But for me, it's always been this feeling of kind of slowing down and reviewing. So before we can start anything new, it really makes sense to look back and to see, okay, what actually happened? What happened this year? What was important? What was exciting? What was challenging? What are the lessons? And I announced that in my email, and it's funny because someone corrected me because, of course, I was already in 2026. But 2025, the year that we are ending right now, in numerology is a number 9 year, and number 9 is the final number, the final one-digit number that we can work with, and it is all about closing. And it's very interesting because I follow the Chinese calendar as well, and for them, this year is also a closing year. It's really interesting, like how it aligns, even in different traditions. So, in a year of closing, we're closing not only this year, but even a larger cycle of 9 years. So, we're not going to go very deep into the last 9 years, but I feel it's kind of nice to have this vibrating in the background. Like for me, it's kind of like the background noise. It's like, oh, okay, we're kind of closing this year and we're looking at all the different things that happen through every month, and we're diving into an intuitive process with Neurographica and elements of Neurographica. And if you feel called to change anything, play with other things in my spaces, you are invited to do so and allowed to do so. So I just put this out there too, because there is a lot of quote unquote rules that we can follow. And I think that it's good to know rules and then to decide that we are also artists. And if our intuition tells us to do something, then my belief is your intuition overrules any other rule. So if you feel like there needs to be a butterfly in your drawing, go for it. If you feel like you want to do something entirely different from what I'm doing, go for it. This space for me is a space, is an invitation for you to tap into your own intuitive, creative knowing, your wisdom that you already carry inside of you. Um, so we're going to start there. What we're going to do throughout the next 12 days is every day we look at 1 month. And I feel that that is really a good way to do it because then we don't overwhelm ourselves with like this, oh my God, all the things that happen throughout the entire year, that can be a lot. So if we cut it down into little pieces and just look at, okay, what did January actually feel like? What were the dominant things that happened? And it's also interesting because January is almost a year ago. And when I thought about it today, I was like, oh, what do I actually remember of January right now? Some months they might be just a blur. Some months might have very specific, very important aspects and things that happened and events that happened. So that's a really interesting part for me to look at which ones are the energies that really stick out. And interestingly, if you do this process over several years, you can even find patterns in your experience. No, for me, it's like a thing that the beginning of the year is always has a certain energy and is always like really strong and there's a lot of like stuff. And then as we go move into summer, for me, there's always a time of retreat, which is interesting because it's actually the summertime when we go out and do stuff. For me personally, it's a time of retreat, which has to do with my astrology. I'm not gonna tell you all about it, but it's really interesting. If you do this for several years, you can see patterns. You can see like, oh, every March something interesting happens, you know, and then like this is how for me it's really, really interesting to work with the art on a long-term trajectory, I want to say, because it can open up new understanding and it can like make so much sense. And then once we identify patterns, then we can even like looking into the future be like, oh, I know that in January, February, I have a lot of energy. Like this is where I'm at, you know, I know that I have a lot of energy there. So I know for me personally, it makes sense to start a whole bunch of new stuff. Whereas in July, I already know I'm gonna have free time. I'm already planning that because I know that I need the space then. So this is one of the things why I really like to do reviews because they can give us this hindsight vision, no hindsight, where we can understand some of the things that maybe in the moment were just a lot. Well, for me, this year, for example, has been a lot. And so I'm looking forward to really looking back at some things and seeing, okay, how did I actually manage that? What happened after? What happened before? And kind of to piece the puzzle together a little bit. No, everybody can piece together the puzzle of our lives. And I feel that it's also really nice to sit with it, and to be with this, oh, this happened. And in the end, it helps us to look back in gratitude and to even be grateful for the things that were challenging, for the crazy stuff that happened, for the, I don't know, people that we met, for the coincidences that happened. And yeah, see that in a way, in the bigger picture, everything is aligned and does, in a way, happen for a reason. So that's the idea of the whole project. I want to start also with sharing about the challenge. I kind of thought like I want to bring in something that actually motivates people because of course I know that it's holiday season and there's a lot of other things to do and people are kind of so busy and everybody is like in their minds and running around trying to find Christmas gifts and stuff. So I know that it is a challenge to find time for art every day in the winter time. And I wanted to challenge everyone, and I'm going to do very, very short processes. So what I'm actually going to work with is a half a copy paper. Like this would be like the normal copy paper size, like a letter size, and I'm actually going to work with half of it. So we're going to do small drawings. You can, of course, do bigger drawings. That's absolutely your choice. But for me, it's really nice to have this as a kind of short process that I can just do whenever, where it's not like this big effort, where it's not like, oh, I have to have 2 hours to do my drawing. No, I can do this in half an hour. So that's kind of the approach that we want to make it easy for everyone. We want to make it approachable. We want to make it to where you can really, um, in the next 12 days, create 12 drawings. And then on the 13th day, on December 20th, we're going to go into a longer process again to kind of close it out and to allow us to really tap into this energy of the solstice. I think the solstice this year actually is the 21st, but like for me, the solstice day is kind of like a sacred day that I have to be with myself. So I thought, okay, I'll do it a day before and then everybody can watch it whenever they want to do, or they can, of course, join live. So on the 20th, we're going to meet again live. In between, I will try to do the live thing on my YouTube channel. We'll see how that works. I have figured out the technology, I think. So we'll see. At 2 p.m., so an hour from now, an hour later from now, every day, I will either post a video or be live. So if you want to, we can continue doing this together. I feel that it can be powerful to do kind of feel the group energy. Like, like if I feel it now, I'm like buzzing with the group energy. So if that resonates with you, and if you kind of feel that it's good for you to have a schedule, you can join me on my YouTube channel at 2 p.m. every day. And as I said, some of the processes will be recorded. Just, if we go to town or we have something planned, then I'm going to record it the day before or like sometime before and join it. But yeah, it's going to be on YouTube then, so you can watch it anytime. So this is the other thing that, of course, I wanted to make it not just available on the exact time when we have to sit together, but you can come later and do it whenever. So there's going to be either, I think it's called like an instant premiere. So if you follow me on YouTube, which is going to be the challenge, um, you might get a notification. I'm not 100% sure how that works, but you can just enter the channel and it should show you the newest thing. Yeah, 2 p.m. is Central Time, exactly. So I am currently on Central Time, so which is yeah, still funny because I used to be Pacific and now sometimes I get confused myself, but we're Central Time. And okay, so I also wanted to kind of have an incentive for everyone to actually do the challenge. And the incentive will be I'm going to give away the the journey that comes after this. So after this, what I'm going to do from December 24th, the night, until January 5th is 13 nights where we envision the next year. And this is something that is very, very popular and very, very common in Europe. In Germany, where I'm from, we call it the Rauhnächte. And it's a really, really interesting yeah, time of year for us because it is the time between the years. And we have like this I don't even know exactly how it works, but there is like between the moon cycles and the calendar year, there's a gap. And there's like a number of days at the end of every year that we call the empty days. No, they are actually out of time. They are where we kind of tap into this different world. And they start after the winter solstice. So whenever the sun starts slowly coming back, this is when we sit and we vision and we do our magic. And for me, in the last few years, ever since I started the drawing practice, I have integrated the drawing into this practice. And I'm of course going to share much more about it when we get closer to it. But yeah, it's like the time between the time. It was a time out of time and the world between the worlds. The world kind of everything's kind of different. And we are at the threshold of something new. And I feel like that is like an important piece of it, where we can step into a new cycle and really have this renewal experience. And this is also why I think that the review is so important, because we need to close the old first and kind of put it away, store it away, see what we can throw out and what we need to integrate and kind of have all our inner processes around that before we can actually envision and kind of look into the new year. Um, and that program is going to be a paid program. So this one is free for everyone because I feel like, especially in the 9 year, I wanted to have something that is just for everyone, where it's just like everyone can kind of benefit from this closing out. And you can, of course, do your own process as you envision. But yeah, I'm also going to share that. And the winner of the challenge will get free access to it. And now, okay, I got like a few more minutes. How are we going to do the challenge? So the challenge is you need to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're not subscribed yet. And comment every day. So I am working on my YouTube channel, obviously, by putting out a bunch of videos. And of course, it's good for the algorithm and everything if I have a bunch of comments. So I thought, okay, how can we make it to where it also makes sense for you? So every time when you watch the video and when you did your drawing, make a small comment. You can comment, what you learned, something that you found interesting in the process, whatever it is. And then I'm going to see like those people that commented 12 times, they're going to be the ones that are in the um, in the challenge, like in the draw for winning something. And then extra, you can of course also share your pictures on socials. I don't think it's possible on YouTube, but like on my in my Facebook group, or on Instagram and tag me, and those can be extra entries. So then I'm gonna enter you like another time or something so that you have more chances. That's what I thought. But that's like optional on the side. The most important for me is to feed my YouTube and to just like have comments too and see how that resonates with people. I would really love that, if you can, yeah, kind of tap into what this process over the days as well, because we are doing 12 days in a row. So it's really like a everyday drawing, kind of getting into a rhythm with it, getting into your creative rhythm. And this is like the other idea that I had, because for me, my one of my intentions for next year is to be more consistent in my artistic expression, no, and kind of like having a routine, having an art practice. And I felt that why start with it on January 1st if you can already have a practice running? Or if I can already settle into my practice and already know like, oh, this is so good. So that's the idea too, that you can already fulfill something that you may or may not plan next year. Not everybody might have that as an intention, but if that resonates with you, you can also set that intention, to kind of just have a daily practice of creating. And of course, it doesn't always have to be these drawings all the time. It can change. But yeah, it's just, I think like we have to train the muscle of creativity, and this is one way for me to do it. And then the other thing for me is also to be more connected to my creative community. So that's why I also invite everyone to participate and to comment and to kind of have this relationship in that, where we can comment on each other even and have conversations about it and go into a, a kind of more communal space. Because yeah, sometimes life is very lonely. And then it's really nice to be creative together. Okay. Nice. Yeah, daily practice is so helpful. Yes, 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 yes. Exactly. And even if it's just a scribble, this is why we're gonna go small, and simple and easy and like daily. And I'm gonna send an email to everyone with the criteria for my challenge and everything again, just so that you have it in written in case you didn't take notes. Okay, and now we're gonna go actually into drawing. So let me drink a sip of tea. And then we're actually gonna first kind of tune in, like I always do, obviously. So I invite everyone to just sit for a moment. Oh, so we're gonna start with January. I invite you to place your feet on the ground, sit comfortably. If your body feels like moving at any point, it is absolutely allowed to do so. And we want to settle into the body. And if it feels good, you can soften your gaze or close your eyes and start the journey into yourself, into your darkness, looking at the screen behind your eyes. And we can start with a few deep breaths. And with every breath, you can just imagine releasing anything that doesn't belong to this moment, anything that may have happened today, anything that you want to just already kind of let go. You are invited to use your voice, sigh, or sound. Wow. Wow. Mm. And tuning in with yourself, connecting with your body, feeling your feet on the ground, feeling where your body meets the chair under you, feeling the weight of your body, feeling the density, feeling your skin, maybe feeling the feeling of your clothes on your skin. And see if there's anything that calls your attention, any place, in your body that wants attention right now. And you can just gently send your breath there and invite your body to relax, to become soft, inviting your shoulders to sink down, inviting your breath to go deep all the way down into your belly. Inviting your hands to relax wherever they are. Inviting your throat and your neck and your jaw to drop, your forehead to relax, and your eyes to move deep down, looking inside, internally. And now I invite you to just imagine January and see whatever comes up for you when you think of the past January. What is the energy that you feel? How did your January vibrate for you? What happened? What were your thoughts or your feelings? What are the experiences that really stick in your mind or in your heart or wherever else in your body? And check in with your emotions for a moment and just see any emotion that comes up today and welcome whatever it is. Making space for it, making space for all of it, the happy moments, the sadness, the anger, the grief, the joy. In this review, there's space for all of it. We don't want to push anything away. We want to be aware. We want to see, we want to feel. And check in with your mind and see whatever stories come up in your mind. Is there any judgment? Hmm. Is there any chatter? Is your mind already in a different place? Or is there anything that really, really comes up from January? How did you start the last year? In what state were you in? And if it feels good, you can place a hand on your heart and put a smile on your face and just smile at January. It is over. It's been a while. We'll just say hello again, remembering and welcoming any lessons that January still may have for us, any messages that are still there to be listened to come up to the surface. And breathing in with it, breathing out. And with the next breath, I invite you to very gently start moving your body. You can move your fingers or your toes, feeling your body. Just moving it however feels good. And then you can very gently start blinking your eyes and coming back into the space where you are. And we're coming together. And in this energy, we're going to start creating from January. Okay. So here we are. Paper's all twisted. Just remove it. So as I said, will draw with a little paper today. It is half of a letter, so half of a just copy paper. Because I want this to be a possible process in half an hour where we don't have to stress, we don't have to do anything crazy. And I am going to work with black pens. You can, of course, have colors. You can have a different color for every day, whatever feels right for you. I'm going to use these just kind of to have an overall theme for me. And we can, in the end, put them all together. So that is an option. That is absolutely not a must. It's like a fun thing to, in the end, make like a little book out of them where all of them come together and where you can, like in the end, like kind of look at the yearbook, so to say, of 2025. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to write somewhere on this paper, January 2025. It can be in a corner somewhere. I would probably do it in a corner. I wouldn't like write it in the middle, but you can, just feel wherever you feel called to write it. Like for me, if I'm going to write it, I'm actually up here. I'm going to write it in the bottom left corner, but it can be a different space for you. So this is the energy that I'm going to tap into. And for some reason, my pen doesn't really want to. Okay, well, it does. Okay, so now what we're going to start with is lines over the paper. Very simple. We're going into simple processes that just capture the energy. Can I imagine to feel into the vibration of January? Was it slow? Was it quick? Was it moving a lot? Was it moving just a little? And see it just as a wave. And we're going to, of course, use our neurographic line that starts somewhere on one side. Oh, I'm going to go from left to right because this is our writing direction. Anybody who writes in English or other languages. Um, so I'm just going to start feeling into the vibration of January and moving it over the paper in a line. And there's no special way this has to be. It is not a straight line. That's the only thing that I'm going to tell you right away because life is not a straight line. So just imagine, and we're going to just do this for a little while and draw several lines moving across the page in the energy of January. And maybe with every line, you get a little bit closer to what it feels like. And pay attention to what it feels like in your body. Hmm. And we're just going to slowly build the space, taking as much time as feels right for you. This is why it's kind of nice to work on a small paper so we don't have to rush. And you can take over the entire space. So we don't want to have just 5 lines in the very center. We want to take over the space and have January all over the page, so to say. It can take all the space. And maybe you do see some kind of energetic pattern in there. Like for me, it definitely has a certain kind of flow that I can see here. It is even and moving a lot, but in a comfortable way. Like for me, January was a month where I felt comfortable. I felt challenged as well, but in a way that felt exhilarating, I would say. Okay, so I feel that I've took over the space. I really filled the page with my January energy. And now we're going to go, of course, into rounding. Anybody who has been with me and knows Neurographica, you absolutely know what to do. And I'm just going to go very briefly into what rounding looks like for anyone who hasn't worked with me, just in case. So I have my January energy. And I'm just doing this on a separate piece of paper so you can see it better. So anywhere where I have 2 lines crossing, I have a crossing of lines. No, I have different crosses in my paper. So what we will do is we will connect these together by rounding the corner. So here I have a corner, it's almost like a little triangle. So what I want to do is I want to go into it and make it round. And the easiest way I like to explain this is I'm just imagining that I'm kind of driving down this road here, and then I'm taking a turn. So here, where all my lines meet, I create a connection point, and you can probably see that this is going to look like a synapse, like a brain connection. I don't even know if these are, yeah, I think they're called synapses in English too. So I'm gonna go into my picture and do this wherever I have connections, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Just as a general rule, I invite you to go wherever you feel drawn. And if you don't get everywhere in the picture, that is fine. We're just gonna do this for the next maybe like 8 minutes, I want to say. And if you don't get it all done, that's okay. It is fine to have some little corners there. And of course, it kind of depends how much movement you had in your lines, how many connections you have there. And just being with whatever shows up for you. And I'm going to try and be a little quiet so that you can listen to your own thoughts. And while we're doing this, I invite you to stay with the energy of January and really see, okay, what do you actually remember of January? And kind of allow yourself to journey through the month. And if there's really uncomfortable processes or moments, you actually don't have to relive them, of course. But it can be really, really helpful to acknowledge that things happened and to see, how do I feel about this now? Now, almost a year later, things can look very different. So just inviting you to be with anything that shows up for you as you are slowly moving through the picture and working on all these little connections, making January whole, all the pieces, all the different moments come together. And I invite everyone to breathe, stay connected to your body, listen to your emotions, to any thoughts, to the stories, and also listen to your body as you move through the picture. And again, breathing, staying with yourself. If your mind is already going to another place, bringing it back. I'm trying to deepen into it. And if it feels good, you can imagine that you're giving thanks to January. Really imagine this month as almost like a person in front of you. And just say thank you. Thank you for everything that you brought into my life. If that feels good for you. Or if you had the most terrible month, then this might be asking a little bit much. So really from the place wherever you are. And maybe you will find something that you can be grateful for, a lesson that you learned, something that you received, and someone that you met, and something that came into your life, or even something that left. Sometimes even that can be hindsight, a good thing. Or maybe you can bring acceptance into whatever happened for you. We're going to give it another minute. And if you didn't round everything, please don't worry. This is not about perfection. This is just about playing with this process. And you can, of course, come back to the process later or round some more, whatever feels right for you. So what we're going to do now is look at the drawing. Look at what we created and look at what is there, what is present in your space that you created, and what places draw your attention. And this is like a very intuitive way of looking. We'll just kind of see, are there places that feel interesting? For me, there's a place here that feels like there's a lot happening, a lot of things are coming together. There's a lot of small, interesting little shapes that I find intriguing. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw circles wherever we feel the energy is asking for it. You can draw as many circles as feels right for you, wherever they want to be. And so I'm just going to go in and say, okay, here there might be a circle. And circles don't have to be perfectly round. If they end up being eggs, that's absolutely fine too. So please don't be perfectionist about the circles. Circles can overlap. They can even go outside the space of the drawing. They can even go outside of our page. So just kind of looking. We're just looking now and kind of interacting with the space as it shows up. And there might be like smaller circles, bigger circles, as I said, just as many as kind of feels right. There's a big one here. I like to have a lot of circles. So if you feel like you only see two, then that's fine. And trust your inner knowing. No, trust yourself and believe that you know that there needs to be a circle if it feels like that. And maybe I'm going to make a small one here. And another small one here. Okay, and then we of course want to integrate these circles by rounding out again. So we're going to go another few minutes into rounding the circles to where the circles are connected with the lines that they cross. So here I go again, and I just While I'm in my circle, I ask myself, what might that be? What is this that is in the circle? Is it something that happened in January? Is it a person? Is it a, yeah, what part of January does that represent? And I invite you to name the things if names show up. For me, this one is my class. I had like my beginners class in January, and that was really powerful. It was really good for me to do that. To go back to the basics is always like a good one. So just kind of seeing for you what comes up, and it could even be a feeling. It could even be the feeling that you had in January. It could be something that you remember from there. And if you cannot name everything, that's absolutely fine too. I like to write into the circles, but if that doesn't resonate with you, you can just kind of make notes on the side or something. I always feel that it's really, really helpful to actually take notes so that whenever you like look back at your 12 drawings at the end, you still can remember what was the circle that you had in January. And again, trusting your intuition and reminding everyone to breathe and to be with whatever shows up inside of you, whatever sensations, whatever feelings, whatever thoughts, memories are there. Or maybe there's just a feeling. And if you can't really remember, like, don't worry. This is more about tapping into the energy of it. And this can actually train your memory. If you do this on a regular basis, then this can totally train your memory. And you can even do this kind of stuff at the end of every month. So we don't have to wait 12 months to make a review. We can actually have a review all the time. But yeah, I'm writing some kind of feelings, some people, some events that happen. So it can be anything that's in these circles. And one is for friends, one is for being grounded. So it can be absolutely random too. There is no right or wrong here. If you don't know it yet, maybe when you look back at your calendar or whenever you have a conversation with someone, you may suddenly remember what this one circle might stand for. So this is not about finding the right answer either. This is all just about being with whatever's present right now. Mm. So we'll give it one more minute and then we'll go into color. If you're already there, you can also start coloring already. So with color, everyone who's worked with me before, you just go with your intuition. There is no right or wrong in color, and it is a very individual experience, and the color can mean whatever you make it mean. So I am one of the circles. Thank you, Christine. That's really sweet. You, I'm a circle. Nice. Yeah, you're in my circle here too. That's great. So yeah, what I like to do is I pick the color that just jumps into my hand, and then I just go wherever it wants to go. So it is a very um, undefined process, almost, I want to say. We can, of course, color the circles, but I always like to invite the energy to move. So even if I start inside a circle, this is not an exercise in coloring every circle a different color. This is an exercise in allowing the energy to move. And I understand color as a carrier of energy. So color is energy, so it can move through the drawing. It can really be like this, yeah, this thing that's more than just stuck in one place. So I invite you, even if you feel like one circle has to be a certain color, ask yourself, if the color was to move out of the circle, where would it go? And then let it go there at least a little bit and feel what it's like to actually allow the energy to move. Because sometimes I see that we like to get stuck with all the little rules that we learned in kindergarten, where we were, of course, told that color belongs only in one place, and then there's a neat and nice boundary, and we never cross the boundary. In this type of creating here, we want to cross boundaries. We want to move into the spaces. We want to take over the space. We want to be bold in a way. And of course, if you know for you there is a circle that is just red and the red doesn't want to move anywhere, then that's okay too. But in general, I wouldn't want to have a background and then like different colored circles. This is not what we're looking at. We're looking at creating larger flows of energy that can actually take us somewhere and that can have deeper messages in a way about the processes that we're working with here. So we're gonna go like 4 or 5 minutes into color. We'll do this quickly. I like to color really quickly because then you don't get stuck in your mind. And there's no right or wrong. Again, it just goes where it goes. And you allow it to move, you allow it to flow. Mm. And we can also leave spaces white. So we don't have to color everything. So this really, the coloring is a freeing process. And I really invite you to kind of invite this feeling of freeing yourself from whatever you've ever learned about how art is supposed to be, what things are supposed to look like, what colors match or can't go together. We're just going to dump all of these and play with it. So we'll just give it another minute. And you can, of course, stay with us longer if you have more time. But for the purpose of this session and of this drawing, I'm going to do this one quickly. And as I said, it's really nice to actually do this quickly because that keeps us from overthinking it. Then there is no right or wrong here. Okay, now we can take a thick pen. If you have a thicker pen, like I have thin Sharpies and like thicker Sharpies, and this is a fine point, but I also have these brush pens that I love to use. We're gonna go and draw one or two or maybe maximum three because we're working on a smaller piece of paper. For Farah who joined late, this is a half a letter. I just folded that letter in half. So we're gonna move from one edge of the paper to the other, wherever it wants to go. And you can see that I am moving with some lines that are already there here and there, but I am not really following anything. I just follow again. I follow the energy that I feel there. I just go wherever the line wants to go. And I like to do this several times. And you can also go back and forth. And what this can do is allow you to feel the energy of the month again, feel the direction. And by going backwards, you can ask what needs to be integrated. What are the things, the pieces that still need to be integrated? And you can just allow your subconscious to do that for you. So this doesn't have to be a complicated process. We can just invite the subconscious to move through here in a way that will support the process of integration, support the process of taking out the lessons, finding the diamonds in it, finding the gems. And I'm going to have two of those. And these lines can, of course, meet, they can connect. They can also go through the drawing in different ways. So for me, it's going kind of forward. So if I have my drawing as a timeline, it is going from the past to the present or to the future, like through my January. But this can also look different for you. And then I want to integrate this line. So we're going to just do a minute of integrating the line. And you can, of course, kind of like do this more accurate as much as you want later. And then while I'm doing this, I can already ask myself, what is the lesson that I see here in this drawing? What is the element in the drawing that really sticks out, where I feel drawn to? And allow your intuition to guide you there. Maybe it is a circle that has a different color from the other ones. Maybe it is a space that just pops up. It can be a shape that is a circle. It can be also something different. So it could be that I see, I don't know, a little face here somewhere, or as I said, if you see a butterfly in your drawing, you can absolutely work with that one too, or you see a flower, or you see something of that nature, a fish maybe, whatever it is. Just paying attention to what comes into your consciousness as an important element. Maybe something that has a message for you. Something that reminds you of what January taught you. What did you learn in this month? What do you take from it as a lesson for your life that goes beyond just like month itself? And if there's an element already that kind of embodies that, then you of course can look at that. Or maybe there's not and you want to add an element, then you can also do that. So you have different options. I try to make today's process kind of very simple, and then in the next few days, we're going to go and make it layer by layer to where you can, of course, add more things or work with it in different ways. But since this is the very first one, and there might be a few beginners here, I wanted to make this like the simplest process possible. So I'm just looking at what is the element that really talks to me. And for me, it's this circle here that's on the very edge here where my two lines come together. People that have studied with me, you know that I always look at those kind of things. If lines come together, lines split, lines do anything interesting around the circles, especially the thick lines, then there is something there for me to look at. So I'm looking at it. And for me, interestingly, the message is very clear too. January really taught me what it feels like to move on with my things, like to really take this energy and move with it, to take the momentum, to be in the momentum. So what I do now is I take this element, this one circle that I identified as important here, and I circle it again in my thicker pen. Can you reach? So that it sticks out. So that when I look at this drawing, I am reminded, or when I look in 12 days, I see like, oh, in January, I learned to take on the momentum, to move with the energy, to stay in this forward momentum. And this is like kind of what I feel when I feel into it, into January. It had this like really, yeah, exhilarating energy for me. Where I was like, woohoo, moving into the year. So I hope that resonates and that you find something that January had for you. Of course, not everybody has this energy in January. So kind of just feeling out what did your January feel like and what is the important piece there for you? What is the lesson of January? And now what I recommend is sit and journal a little bit about it. I know I always recommend journaling, but that's because it can be really, really nice to translate whatever you have created here on a very abstract level back into words where your brain can integrate it better. So when we work with art, we work on a very abstract level that can take us to places where the brain really can't go in a way. And then we want to invite our brain to make sense of it again. So I can now journal on this forward movement and how I want to work with that in my life, or what else came up with it, or all the other pieces of January. Of course, January is a time capsule. That is awesome. Great. I love that. Okay, so this was the first process, and I'm gonna actually stop it here because I said that this should be an hour process, and we're at the hour now. And I promised myself that I'm gonna post some things on YouTube that are not 2 hours long, just like most of what I have on there. So yeah, I hope that this resonated with you. As I said, this is like the simplest beginning process, and you can do every single month just like this. Throughout the next 12 days, I'm going to add little things here and there just to make it fun, just to give some variety, just to show you other ways of how you can approach this. But as a general thing, you now have the blueprint of how you can work with that if you want to. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in the next few days. And I hope that, yeah, some people will take the challenge. Oh, beautiful. I gave someone inspiration for the women's circle. Way to go. Exciting. So, yeah, I hope to see you and I hope to hear from you. And I hope that many, many people will join my challenge. And I hope to see all your drawings. So, if you are open to posting online, you're going to get a link to my Facebook page. Or you can also tag me on Instagram if you are on Instagram. And I wish you a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your December. And I hope to see you on the 20th live again. So we're going to go live again on the 20th with a little bit of a deeper process. And yeah, close out your year, find your time to go into your creative flow and see what are your lessons and what needs to be integrated, what wants to be heard and seen. And I'm sending out my love. See you very soon, everyone. Bye bye.